And a swing and a drive. High and deep into left field and way back and gone. Oh, my goodness. Off the stick of Whitney into the glass. Scooped up by Hemsky, and he's hammered. And it's caught. It's caught.
Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of The Wrap Up. I'm Nick Buckler, with me as always Dan Myers. Dan, we're going to jump right into it today. We're going to talk about the never-ending letdown of the Detroit Tigers 2015 season. And today it's basically a first half assessment show as we have now come to the All-Star break. All teams are off now for the next 3 to 4 days. And let's jump right into it. The Tigers, they've already made a move to try to help that struggling bullpen. We know they got rid of Jabba Chamberlain. We know they got rid of Tom Gorzelani. And they actually outright cut Jabba last week. Gorzelani was optioned down to AAA Toledo. Both very disappointing starts to the season for the Tigers bullpen. Two guys that we thought were going to have a key role in the bullpen. And they tried to kind of solidify that by agreeing to terms with Neftali Feliz from the Texas Rangers. And in 2010, this guy was the Rookie of the Year. He notched 40 saves with a 2.43 ERA. This year, he hasn't really seen great success. Only 6 saves and a 4.35 ERA. Although he has been hurt, he actually opted out of his deal mid-season with Texas, knowing that he may be able to help a contender down the stretch. Not sure if the Tigers are quite a contender, but at this point, Dombrowski and the boys, they're desperate.
Yeah, absolutely. And all I want to say about that is just take your time. I mean, how long have we been getting angry with Jabba Chamberlain? As much as I wanted him to turn around his performance, it just hasn't been happening. So I don't know why we have to wait till you have a complete plane crash on Friday like we had with that last ninth inning, implosion going on. So yeah, it had to be done, and it was finally done. I'm afraid to say it's too late.
Yeah, let's go back to that Friday game real fast. 6-0 lead late in the game. Justin Verlander pitched as good as we've seen him in the last 2 years, really. He goes 7 2/3. A lot of people questioned Ausmus for bringing him back out there. I think it was the right move. One of the rare correct things Ausmus has done this year, he actually let JV go out because he was pitching so well. And he wasn't the reason they lost that game. We all know it was the Bulls back there in the pen. I don't know, they might have been more like goats out there on Friday night. It was real rough, just frustrating as always. Luckily, I didn't get to physically watch it. I kept getting the updates on my phone. By the time we went inside, Dozier was trotting around the bags, celebrating at home plate with the Twinkies, and that just led to the downward spiral as they lose the next 3 games, Saturday and Sunday as well, dropping 3 out of 4 to a team that we really need to beat when we play them. We have owned them this whole year, the last few years rather as well, and they're right ahead of us in the wild card as well as the division. The division is out of reach. We'll touch on that later. Let's get right into it. We're going to grade this team. We're going to break it down, every single player, how they've fared this season. Have they lived up to expectations? Have they not? Who's impressed who? We're going to start with the guy who's led off most of the year in center field, Anthony Gose. Dan Myers.
I'm going to give him a solid B. He's impressed me. He's done a great job. I was really surprised. He's been pretty solid for the most part. He has his moments, but I've been more often than not happy with the guy.
282 batting average, 13 RBIs, a pair of home runs. He's got 14 steals, tied for the lead on the team with Rajai Davis. B+ for me. I'm feeling generous. Although he's kind of slumped a little bit, he's starting to get it back. He was hitting .330 for the first 2.5 months of the season. I picked him up on my fantasy team. Nice. Then he goes in an 0 for 30 real fast, goes down to 260 and dropped him, and now he's back up to 282. They moved him down in the order now that Kinsler's been leading off. And I think the bottom of the order is a better spot for him. Get some speed on the bases when the big guys come up to bat. B+ for me, B from you. Ian Kinsler, hit me with what you got.
Oh, I just want to go with just a C. Probably a solid C. There's times where I've gotten excited for him, and he had a performance a couple games before and looked like he was having this trend going on, and then all of a sudden it's we really need this run. We need a guy in base, and he strikes out or he swings at a stupid pitch. So unfortunately, I got to give him a C.
274 batting average, 3 home runs, 39 RBIs. Most of his work has been out of the 2-hole. He's playing second base. His fielding's slick. C- for me. I go a little bit lower than you. He's supposed to be a catalyst on this team, and he's failed to get on base for the big guys. He's got the uppercut swing. When he's at his best, he's driving the ball. He's not a power hitter. He's trying too hard, and it's real frustrating to watch because he's a guy who we have for 3 more years after this. And if it were me, he'd almost be a guy I'd sell off because he's been so disappointing. His frustration is leading to off the field, as you can see. He's just in the clubhouse. From interviews you've seen, he's just very negative the way he prances around. And normally he's a guy who's very positive, upbeat no matter what. At least that's what I've seen when he was with Texas and then last year here in Detroit. But C- from me, a C from you. Although he's been hurt the last few weeks, Miguel Cabrera, what do you got for him?
I'll give him an A-. I've been so impressed with him, and unfortunately, it's not up to him whether or not it was, his injuries. It was Brad Ausmus who was holding him back. So, if things were different, the way he handled his situation, like we talked about last week about him running bases, and even in the preseason, down in the Grapefruit League, he was doing stuff that he shouldn't have been doing, especially someone with his caliber and the potentiality of him getting hurt. I give him an A-, but I think he could have been a lot better had he not been put in certain situations.
He could still be on the team right now.
Absolutely.
And that's just poor management. I give him an A. 350 batting average. Still leads the American League and all of the majors. 15 homers. That's gone down, but he's driving the ball all over the place. 54 RBIs. Had he not been hurt, he'd be up well over 60. Miguel Cabrera, solid as player as they come, and I hope that he retires with the Old English D. I would hate to see him leave. I don't care if he's fading out at the end of his career in a few years. Love the guy, best player in the game. Give him an A. And let's go right into Victor. He started the year injured, and he's got that batting average right back up to 272 at the All-Star break. He's hit 5 homers, 30 RBIs. Dan, what are you giving him?
I'm giving him a B, solid B again. I was really excited for him. I thought he just had some bad instances where injuries and whatnot. That's always a tough ghost to get off your shoulder, but he's been for the most part pretty solid. Yeah, he has disappointing at bats, but he has come through when we've needed him, when I've wanted him to come through. You
really could tell when he first came back from the injury to start the season. As we know, he had the meniscus damage happen when he was just training in the off season. He had to get surgery on that, so he was not 100%. And everyone could see just the way he was grimacing when he ran. He really wasn't running. He'd hit a ground ball. I don't even think he would trot. Yeah. Shots to the gap, he was getting base hits. And then when he would swing from the left side, his back was a little bit tweaked. And a game against Pittsburgh, I know, I was watching that. And so he could only hit from the right side, so they decided to shut him down. Great move, put him on the DL. I also give him a solid B. He's really righted the ship since he's come back. And he's a guy that we're going to need tremendously if we do, in fact, want to make a run to make the playoffs. Victor, we need him. JD, what do you got?
I'll give him a B-. I liked him. He's done, for the most part, a pretty solid job. He has come through when we needed him. He's one of the big 4 that we need to carry this team, especially once Miguel's hurt and he's gone for a while. We need him to step up, keep that bat hot, make some key plays on offense or on defense also, and just hopefully can carry the team while Miguel's gone.
I think you went a little low on JD. I give him an A, and I'll tell you why. 289 batting average. That is higher than I would have ever thought it would be. I really honestly thought JD Martinez was going to have a down season this year. I thought last year was a fluke. He's been a career minor league guy. I know he's still in his early to mid-20s. But Houston was where he was before. We wanted to trade him, and Houston did not want to trade. And then they ended up a couple weeks later just outright releasing him. That's free for the Tigers. They didn't have to give up anything. That's just really what Houston thought of the guy. And then he was tearing it up in AAA last year. They call him up at the end of May, and he tears it up. 289 average, higher than I would have ever thought. I thought he's more of a 250, 260 kind of guy. He's been on the incline ever since Miguel went down. He's homered left and right. He's second in the American League in home runs. He's already at 25 at the All-Star break. Guy gets left off the home run derby lineup. We're not going to get to that. I need my blood rate to stay nice and low today. He's got 59 RBIs. Good enough for 3rd in the American League. 1st on the Detroit Tigers. He gets an A for me. His fielding's a little shaky, but we're not paying him for that. We're paying him to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He can do it to all fields. And he's at his best right now. I just hope he can continue it down the stretch because he's, like you said, a guy that we need going forward. Another guy we're going to need, hopefully, to re-sign if we want to have a future, Yoenis Cespedes. Great pickup in exchange for Rick Porcello. I definitely think the Tigers got the right end of that deal. Rick Porcello's got a 6.08 ERA, and he's struggling mightily in Boston. Cespedes, he's just hitting a cool 297 with 13 homers, 51 RBIs. Me, I give him a B+.
Yeah, same there. Same here. He's been solid, and I think he could actually be a great asset should we want to start selling and trading with other teams. Keep him or sell him. At least he's got some value that, if we need to, if Dombrowski wants to, he can get possibly something that we need in the bullpen or maybe another pitcher. So I'd give him a B+ also. He's great value, and I'm really happy with his performance thus far.
He was snubbed from the All-Star game. As we know, he was included in that final vote from the major leagues. 5 players in the American League were, at least, and Cespedes was among them. Mike Moustakas ended up getting voted in, which, surprise, surprise, Kansas City voted in another guy. They're almost too loyal out there in Kansas City because I don't think Moustakas is necessarily deserving. His power numbers are not there. He's only hitting .301. And then Brian Dozier, he ends up getting named for the injured Jose Bautista, the second baseman from the Minnesota Twins. Then Cespedes was third in the voting, 297, 13 homers, 51 RBIs. Leads the league in assists from left field. The best arm in the majors. I don't know how you leave him off the team, but whatever. Then Xander Bogaerts from the Red Sox is fourth. And then Brett Gardner was in there fifth, and they end up naming him for the injured Alex Gordon from Kansas City. Don't know how that works, but I guess there's got to be snubs every season. When it's your hometown guy, you're just a little bit salty about it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Next guy on the list, Nick Castellanos.
I give him a B-. He's done a all right job. He's impressed me at times where he's been very bright and very strong, and other times I'm just like, just gripping really tight when he's up at the plate. So yeah, definitely have to go with a lower B. And these grades are a little lower with me because I'm still sour from the weekend, and I'm still hurt from it. So yeah, I'm going to be a little biased with these grades coming up. So
You gave him a little bit lower, you said? What'd you give him?
B-.
I'm even lower.
Oh,
I give Nick Castellanos a C.
that don't feel so bad now.
I'll tell you why. Although he's up to 243, 2 weeks ago he was at 218. Everyone was wondering, do we send this guy to the minors and bring up a youngster like Dixon Machado, who's playing really well down in AAA at third base? And he answered the bell a little bit. He's upped his average quite a bit. In Seattle, he had 2 home runs. And over the last few games, he's hit, I believe, 4 in the last week and a half. And that's really good to see. But he just hasn't put it together for long periods of time. He's one of the streakiest guys. I compare him to Johan Franzen of the Wings.
Yeah, that's
very streaky, and that's what Castellanos is. He's got 38 RBIs. I picked him up on my fantasy team this week because of the hot factor. He has really picked up his game in the last couple weeks, and he's getting some clutch hits, I guess, if you will, but he's another guy for the depth purpose of this lineup that will need to step up going forward. If he can hit you 250 by the end of the year with a little bit, maybe 15 home runs, I'll be ecstatic.
Yeah, I'm excited about him. And like you said, he's very streaky. But should we get this, the streakiness out of him and get him to be solid, I think he would be a very valuable asset.
James McCann, 280, 4 homers, 21 RBI. Now he's kind of been pushed aside to the backup role, but he was a guy who was starting in the absence of Alex Avila. I give him a B. I think he's really impressed everyone, fans, front office, players. They call him James McCannon because of his ability to throw some of the fastest guys in the league out. I give him the B. I think he's been solid.
I'm going to give him a B+. I thought he's been terrific. He surprised me a lot, and I was very impressed with what his performance was doing, especially at bat. And I think it's a shame that he's actually going to be behind Avila now. I think he deserved that #1 spot, and he deserves to be there. And I give him a strong B+, if not an A- in Porter. But he surprised me a lot, and I was very excited to have him on the team. I thought it was a big a big positive considering what's going on with this team right now and the streakiness that this team has had. To me, he's always been a strong player. So yeah, I'd give him a B+.
Real solid start to his major league career. Jose Iglesias, he's been named to the All-Star team. He plays a slick shortstop, as we know, coming back from the shin splint injury that caused him to miss a full season. He's hitting .314. That number is down about 20 points of what it's been for all season. Just 1 lone home run, 15 RBIs. I give him an A-, mixed with his great fielding. He's just absolutely solid at shortstop. He leads the infield, and he really brings some assurance to the bottom of the lineup. I really question why he bats ninth every game when he's a guy who I think should be up towards the top of the order. He gets on base with the best of them. He's hitting well over 300, and that's just another thing that just makes me scratch my head. I know that maybe he's found a home down there, he's comfortable down there, but this is the major leagues. You got to be out of your comfort zone, and I think Ausmus permanently is not comfortable at all, so he's just, oh, well, this is what he's been doing, we'll just keep him, and it frustrates me.
I'm going to go with a B+ for Iglesias. I thought he's done a terrific job. His fielding's been strong. He's been respectable at bat. I think he's doing a great job. And I think Brad Ausmus needs to move him around the order. This ninth place spot is just when the teams are struggling like they are, they really need to move the order around. And I think he could be a valuable asset, especially with Miggy gone. It's one of those key players that we were talking about. So strong B+ with him.
Another guy who maybe hasn't been used the right way by the manager, Rajai Davis. I think he's a guy that needs to be in the lineup a lot more than he is. He's really taken a back seat to Anthony Gose this year, and for good reason. Gose has been playing well, but I don't think Rajai has been playing bad where he should be getting less than split time. He's hitting 277, 2 homers, 12 RBIs, and 14 steals. I give him a B, a solid B. He really hasn't been in the situations that really give him chances to fail because of how he's been used by the manager.
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to give him a B-. I really liked him. I went to a couple of early games this season, and aside from his personality, his performance has really impressed me, and I've really enjoyed him. And like you said, he hasn't been put in those situations where he can actually prove himself, and I feel like he's a strong asset also, and that he can, should he be put in that situation, yeah, he might be a little streaky, but I feel like he'd perform. So definitely give him a solid B-.
Alex Avila.
Okay, let's go.
You might be biased. I know you guys went to high school together.
Yeah, but when the team's like it is now, I'd give him a C-, D+, bordering teeter-tottering. I'm not happy with him. I know exactly how you feel, but I don't think he deserves to have the spot he has right now. I believe James McCann should be taking that position. Granted, he has been hurt, but how much is enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? He has yet to prove himself. I feel James McCann has, and I don't believe he deserves this position he's in right now.
I'm going to be generous with Avila, and I'm going to give him a D, generously. And I'll tell you why. 195 batting average, 3 homers, double-digit RBIs. He's at 10. Yeah. Clutch. Ausmus. Where should Avila bat? We're going to put him at 5. All right, buzzkill. Hey, JD, Victor, you guys want to get on base? Don't worry, Avila will just hit into a double play or strike out. D, Romine, hit me, 300 batting average.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a B+. He's been solid, and there's times to let you down. For the most part, I've been very impressed with him. I thought he's been doing a pretty good job, so yeah, I have to go with that.
Andrew Romine, very serviceable backup, 300. He's hit some power this year, 2 homers, 8 RBIs. I'll give him a B+ as well, in a very limited role. And then a guy who has seen his playing time increase due to injury this year, Brian Holiday. He's now been sent back down, but in his short time up here, he's at 271, a home run, 12 RBIs. And he's really held his own back there controlling this subpar pitching staff that we got. I give him a B.
Yeah, I'll right there with you. I'll give him a B also. It's been a teeter-totter match as far as what's going on with the lineup, and I thought he's proved himself pretty well.
David Price, 2.38 ERA, 9-2 record. The only consistent spot in that starting rotation. I give him an A.
I was close to giving him an A-. Yeah, he's been a solid light for this team. He's had his issues obviously, but for the most part he's been pretty consistent. So I'm very happy that we have him going the way he is.
The number 2 starter, boasting a 4.63 ERA and an 8-7 record. Getting a C- from me, Anibal Sanchez.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the D+. I'm not happy with him. He's let me down more often than he's made a good impression for me. So
too inconsistent.
Exactly.
It's incredible. And of the starting pitching, he's still going to be the next one that throws that no-hitter. But on his very next start, he's going to give up 10 runs.
Exactly. Yep.
2 hit or miss, mostly missed this year, not record-wise. But I just want to go back to David Price real fast. In his 18 starts this year, the Tigers are 15-3. What does that say about the rest of the team? They're 44-44 at the break. So Alfredo Simon, 4.53 ERA, 8-6 record, and a D+ grade from me.
Yeah, D for me. I'm not happy with him. Initially, the season started, I was really excited for him.
Real good, yeah.
We both had positive things to say, but as it went along, it's not doing it for me. So yeah, absolutely.
He had potential to be an all-star at the beginning of the year, and now he has a potential to be an all-star AAA, I guess. Maybe AA. Justin Verlander rocking a 5.34 ERA and an 0-2 record in his limited time back. D. Just he really hasn't had it yet. He had one good start. Hopefully it's going to be a snowball effect of positive things, but I just don't see it right now.
Yeah, D+ for me. The starts that he did have up until last Friday when he was playing the Twins, I would have given him an F. I thought the way they handled the situation was terrible. I thought he should not be comparing. To me, it felt like he was comparing those starts to a minor league game, or not minor league game, a preseason game.
He was proud.
And he was proud of it. And
he was proud of giving up 7 runs.
All you would ever hear is those post-game interviews is, I'm excited. I think there's progress being made. I'm not worried about it. Well, yeah, you have 28 million reasons not to be worried about it. So
good analogy.
I don't think he was consistent. I just thought it was a complete embarrassment how they handled that situation. But after that game, I thought he pitched terrific. I was really excited to see how that was going, and I wrapped the game up. In my head, up until that 9th inning, I was like, here we go, we're turning it around.
Game was over.
And he did not deserve the performance that they got that Friday night. 5th
starter, if you want to call him that, Shane Green, 6.32 ERA. Just got recalled from AAA, 4-7 record. Boasting F grade from me. He's terrible.
Yeah, I give him a D-. Yeah,
Come on.
I really liked him. I had high hopes for him early on. I did.
2 starts, he was good. Last 11, his ERA is like 1,500. His whip's infinite. I could stand in there and maybe pop one out if he'd throw me a strike.
That's true, yeah. You just jump in front of the ball, you get on base.
Kyle Ryan, 5.64, limited time with his mutton chop sideburns. Give him a D. Buck Farmer, 9.22, minimal attempts, F.
Yeah.
They're 2 guys that just really haven't been around long enough to do well, and for good reason. I don't say they mismanage those guys at all. Tigers really just have nothing in the minor leagues. We're going to move to the bullpen. Been real up and down this year. A guy who's been surprisingly good is Blaine Hardy. 2.43 ERA. I'm going to give this guy a B from the left side.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a C+. He's been all right, but I don't think anyone in our bullpen deserves above a C. Especially like we were just talking about after last Friday's game against the Twins. You're not going to get too high praises from me.
I threw Jabba on there just so we could have someone to rip on. 4.09 ERA. And like I said last week, he really inherited runners was his problem. They'd score every time. And then as June went on, he really started to struggle. I give him an F, obviously. I'm sure your grade's about the same. Albuquerque's been a little bit hit or miss. His walks have always been a problem with him. But when he's on, he's got one of the best sliders in the game. 2.79 ERA. I give him a B-.
Yeah, I'll give him probably a solid C. He's done a terrific job when he's on, like you said, but there's too many times. To me, he's like watching the Lions. They give your hope up every year, and you think there's progression going on, and then all of a sudden, no, it doesn't happen. So I'm proud of the guy, but he just hasn't been consistent enough for me to give him a higher mark.
Joakim Soria, 3.38 ERA, 20 saves, a B- from me, and it's gone down significantly in his last few outings where he's been giving up runs. He's been great at times, but he's been brutal at times.
Yeah, absolutely. I give him a solid C also. You said it perfectly. He's been great at times, but also he's been not so great.
They need some help in that bullpen. Bruce Rondon gets a C from me with his 9 ERA. Started strong. Lately he's been a little bit rough. Ian Kroll, another lefty, 6.75 ERA, and another F out of the bullpen from me. A guy who really never panned out in that Doug Fister trade. It's just real frustrating, the bullpen as a whole. Tigers, what do they got to do coming up? I say sell all of your expiring contracts. Cespedes, David Price, Joakim Soria. See if someone will be dumb enough to get Verlander's contract off your hands. Whether you have to take a salary hit on it, something has to be done. Unless they start 5-6-0 after the All-Star break, which is very not possible. Right. Sell your assets. Rebuild this team. They have nothing in the minor leagues. They need help. Send the SOS. Save our team. Save our group. Save baseball, because the Tigers are done. Put a fork in them, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Up until Friday, I was thinking get a nice strong pitcher to take the pressure. Who can go 7 strong innings?
Johnny Cueto.
Yeah, and take that pressure off the bullpen. And we had those strong 7 innings from Verlander, believe it or not. And what happened? Last Friday's game is going to be a real dissection of what this team should have been doing or could have been doing. And I really thought it just now they're in a rowboat and they got 1 oar in the water right now, and they're just going in circles. Unfortunately, there's too much to do with the sinking ship, and
they've sent some guys to go look at Scott Kazmir in Oakland. Washed up. Don't waste your time. Quickly before we say goodbye, team's first half grade as a whole. First off, Brad Ausmus. What does he get?
Oh, F for sure.
F as well. Team,
got to go with the D+. I don't want to really say that they failed completely. I think a lot of it's out of their hands. The decisions being made aren't perhaps theirs, and they're just doing what they should be doing. Granted, they're not doing the best they can, but I can't really blame this record right now completely on the players. Yeah, there's potential, but you also need a strong leadership, and I don't think
I'm giving them an F. They're done across the board, from front office to minors to coaching has been brutal. I say Brad Ausmus can't survive the year. Too many bonehead mistakes. Players aren't producing. He's lost the clubhouse. Give him an F. Better luck next season to the Tigers. And you know what? Better luck to a positive episode next week. Hopefully we can say the Tigers just swept the Baltimore Orioles. But hey, you never know. For Dan Myers, I'm Nick Buckler. Thanks for watching the Wrap-Ups First Half Tigers special.